All right, Steve, you got us.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, help and guide us and make the best possible decisions we can make for Booneville, and help us consider all citizens of Booneville. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, Steve. Roll call.
Young,
Here.
Meadows,
Here.
Cowherd,
Here.
Hurt,
Here.
Elbert,
Here.
Venable,
Here.
Turner, and Stock.
Here. Hearing of citizens' comments, I'd like you, those of you that come up and talk, to try and keep it somewhat short so we can get through all of what we're going to try and get through. So we'll set the three minutes, and if somebody wants to come up and say something, please do. Don't forget to identify yourself. Okay, there being no volunteers, we will move on to the approval of the minutes of the November. Wait a minute. Ken, are you coming up? You know, you guys, if you want this, you have to stand up. You have to make yourself present.
Anyway, I'm Jerry Quinlan. I'm a citizen here at Booneville and have been since 1950. I would like to talk to you about subdivisions. I put in 2 of them here in Booneville. One off of Pendleton, I had put in about 14 lots, and ended up, didn't make but maybe $10,000 to $11,000. So about 15 years later, I decided I could do better. I had roughly 50 to 60 acres off of Sumbart Road that I put in Grace Lane and Raymond Court. Now, I put that into the city specifications. Planning and zoning, everybody you have to go through, and it takes a long time. You have to have your drawings and where your sewer, your water, and the runoff and everything when you come to the city, because they want to see it. So I did all that, had it all prepared, and it took roughly a year to get it all approved through. I put in everything like they wanted. Streets 32 foot wide, set a lot off, which is whatever it is, it's still sitting down there on Grace Lane, now empty. That's so that you can get in vehicles in case of emergency. Concrete street, 8 inches. Lights, sewer, water, everything designed by engineer and approved by the city and all. It was put in correct. Good, it still is. Haven't had to do any work the city has on the streets or anything. It wasn't no more in and going, and what happens? A couple of subdivisions wanted to be annexed into the town. One of them off of Santa Fe Trail. Good subdivision. But it had blacktop streets, lights, none, all this stuff. City takes it over. To this day, how much money they put in bringing it up to the city specifications. There was another one, same time, behind Sonic. Go look at the streets. Yet to this day, how much has the city paid? Probably $400,000 or $500,000 or $1 million on both of them together to bring it up to the city specifications. They're not up to it yet. So what I'm saying is that you need to take and really consider when someone wants to build outside of town and then to be annexed in. It happened, and it will happen again. If the city doesn't take it in now, they're going to spend on it 10 to 15 years from now. Why is everybody so concerned about this subdivision? They're outside of town. They live outside of town. I think you need to take and look for the best of Booneville. Do you want it to grow? We have a chance to. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Next. How's Matt?
Doing good. How about yourself, Mayor? There's no pen. Do you need me to sign in?
There you go. You're welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. A lot of talk about this subdivision of Fox Hollow, and I'm going to maybe look at it at a different perspective, and hopefully we'll look at it also. I sat in that seat right there over 20 years ago and had to make a lot of tough decisions. Riverboat Casino, housing was one of them. Out here where Russell Stover's Candies is now, we had a housing forum to try to figure out how we were going to get housing here. What it finally came out to was a public-private combination to get it done at Lake Faro Estates. We didn't have any housing in town at that point. Once that did, we wound up with some nice housing. Did it pay back dollar for dollar? No. Nothing government does pays back dollar for dollar. Swimming pools cost us. Golf courses cost us. Welfare cost us. It doesn't bring back money. It just doesn't. But that's what we're supposed to do as the caretakers of the citizens' money, is try to do the best we can with what we have to fill a need that's needed. Housing is needed. I just went on the multi-list and look, there's 13 total houses right now that you consider really livable. 13. You have a company that's maybe wanting to come here now after Kawasaki, let's say another company's looking at us and going, what you got? Well, we got this really nice building out here. What you got for employees? Well, not really quite sure. What do you got for housing? We don't have any. All right, we're heading to Fulton. We're heading to Nevada. We're heading to wherever. But there's another thing that comes along with this. Those of you who have young children in the Booneville School District right now, there's no opportunity after college for here. They're going to go to Houston, Texas. They're going to go to San Diego, California. And you're not going to get to watch your kids be a pirate, your grandkids, because they don't have the opportunities here, because we don't have the housing, we don't have the jobs. Unless you're a family business like a farm or a radio station, car dealership that could be a family business where you're generational, those opportunities aren't going to be here. You need the housing to bring the corporations, to bring the good jobs, to bring the entrepreneurs that will put in all the other stuff that goes along with it. It's not about the cost of the taxpayer necessarily. It's about what it brings. And one of the best things that a public-private sponsorship or partnership can do is, if you put that money, it may be 50 years before you get it back. The city's the only way that can do that. A private developer can't do that. He can't wait 50 years to get his money back on something like that. It's never going to happen. They'll never build. They're not knocking at our door right now to build. Take that into consideration. Think about this. This isn't about the dollar. This is about filling a need, and this is a perfect way to do it, is having a private-public partnership in this. And you have an opportunity, a great opportunity right here in front of you today. And this is generational, okay? Generational. Think about that for a second. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hey, Susie.
Susie Toma. I own property in the city limits of Booneville as well as in the county. I'm also a real estate broker and have been for about 28 years. I do remember the Lake Faro development quite well, and yes, there was public funds involved with that development, but there were also a lot of restrictions. There were building restrictions, and there was a maximum cost of the sale of the home not to exceed $90,000 at that time. Now today, I pulled up the state of Missouri Economic Development Funding Toolkit, printed off. For sake of saving time, I'm going to skip down to the bottom part of their eligible use of funds. Bottom portion of this states that money could be used for lack of affordable housing or homelessness, including housing vouchers.
why would we use public funds, no matter where they come from, whether they're COVID relief funds or city funds, to support a private development? Well, we know, you could ask any builder, today's building cost to build a 1,700 square foot slab home is going to run between $260,000 and $280,000. So I'm a little concerned about how that fits into this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Anybody else?
No, go ahead, you're up.
Oh, Danny.
Hi there. So my name is Danny Fumler, and I want to start by saying I concur with the housing need. I'm sure there'll be more people that come after me that says we need housing. I'm not doubting that for a minute. But how we get there is where I part with them. The proposal before you is riddled with major problems. As I only have a few moments before you this evening, I will simply highlight them, as I did in a previous email that I sent to everyone here last Friday. And I'm always willing to answer any questions as well. But first, if you want to annex the property, a handout should not be given to one developer in the tune of $1.4 million. That includes the $1.1 million infrastructure and the $300,000 in land purchase. This financial handout is especially irresponsible when these funds are taxpayer and ARPA funds. Also, and this is big, what is the risk to the developer? I have seen zero benchmarks set by the city that would provide a safety net should the developer not fulfill his part after receiving these monies. Any financial incentive offered by the city should have corresponding benchmarks to maintain accountability. I see none of that here. What about safety concerns regarding the park that close to an airport and the resulting liability to the city? Has this been studied in any manner? Susie just mentioned this, but a $280,000 to $260,000, $280,000 price tag for the average home, after a simple search, this is outside of what a Cooper County resident median income can afford. This should not be deemed affordable housing. And finally, why $300,000 for 15 acres for a park? This is overpriced and offered at a location that only benefits the developer, not the city. And does the city need another park? Certainly a formal study would be prudent before funds are expended for this purpose. There are multiple ways to spend ARPA funds within the city limits that will benefit the many, not the few. Examples like those more impacted by housing, healthcare, and food insecurities due to COVID-19. The school system to help our students and enrich current programs. Infrastructure needs within the current city limit property. Law enforcement enhancement. The list is very long. I will say it again, I am pro-growth, I am pro-housing, but not this way. Demand will spark development. All handouts do is create contempt and sets a horrible precedent. For these reasons alone, your vote should be no on the Fox Hollow subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Gigi?
Sorry, my pants are inching up. Amber, tell me when you're ready.
You're ready. Go.
Okay. You guys, running the city of Boonville is a business and should not be treated, and should be treated as such. Do we want to go on record as a city who voted on emotion or over logic? Our city council members are the CEO, the legislators, the president, if you will, of this company or the city we call Booneville. You hold the key for its success, its growth, its safety, its amenities, its infrastructure, and a host of other responsibilities. You council partnered in the past with your responsible spending on incentives to bring us the YMCA, the Frederick Hotel, the Isle of Capri, the Aquatic Center, the golf course, Lake Farrell, just to name a few. Each and every one of these tax-spent dollars and incentives provided this community with valuable resources jobs, commerce, housing, and a better life for our citizens. Here's the logic behind this annexation. There is a huge need for housing right here, right now. Today, there are only 11 active listings per the Columbia, 2 less than what Matt mentioned, per the Columbia MLS and Central Board. If the president of a company saw that their supply was low, they would do something to meet the need for the demand, purchase more, make more, increase production, or another solution to fill the demand and need to keep their company successful. We have a need for housing. How are you going to fill the demand if this developer walks? The land's location is sandwiched between 2 city-owned properties. There is limited available land left inside the city limits of Booneville for residential development. Are you going to try to force annexation to bring additional land into the city for growth if this measure fails? We are running water out to the golf course with a potential cost of $3 million. How is the golf course alone going to recoup this expense when it is owned by you? Speaking of water, when all the water district lines are completed, the big switch is turned off for the purchase of the City of Boonville's water supply. Who is going to fund the $125,000 annual loss of revenue? Are you going to have to increase the water bills if you don't acquire more housing or commercial to fill that void? Additional property tax revenue will be collected with most homes who will have 2 cars. The City of Booneville will be able to collect a use tax, which we just touched on, which is going to potentially increase for online purchases. If you're not in the city limits, you get 0, the city does. 400 homes could generate over $1 million in revenue each year for our school off the real estate taxes alone. There is no guarantee for the future with any business, and the same with this development.
Okay,
But this business, okay, all right, thank you.
thank you, Gigi. Kenny?
I want to know when you start your time. I don't want to pay for signing in. Because I think I did last time. I'll sign in when I'm done.
I'll let you get your glasses on. Get prepared.
This is going to fly. Okay,
Now,
here we go.
go.
I've got a lot that needs to be said in 3 minutes, so I'm going to be talking so fast it's going to sound like the end of a car finance ad. I hope you are able to follow me. First, I'd like to mention leadership. As council people, you are considered city leaders, important city leaders. To me, leadership is your constituents electing you or you being appointed for common sense and with the understanding you would take an issue, analyze it, and vote in the best interests of the citizens, most of whom want to see Booneville grow rather than remain the same, which I think we all agree remaining the same is impossible. We either grow slowly or we wither away. I would not define leadership as trying to take a poll of who wants to know who wants to vote you one way or the other. Everyone says how you should vote, or who on the issue is talking the loudest. I hope we won't see those results tonight, but instead real leadership. You have heard objections mostly from people who live outside the city. You've heard encouragement from city residents as well as from members of board city councils have supported now for decades and whom councils have taken much advice from, such as in 1993 when it said, let's see about locating a casino here. And as you've heard often from the economic developer who holds a position that used to be a city staff position and is now contracted in partnership with the BCDC and county to employ a very good economic developer who just located 285 jobs here. Let's talk about the city spending money to spur growth. I don't know of a previous city council who has ever turned down a request. The result was sewer lines being laid down Highway 87 when it wasn't in the city limits to spur housing and golf course development. When that project went south and became unprofitable, the city purchased that golf course. Affordable housing was promoted by a city board that Ned and I were both members of at the time with Lake Farrell, which was funded by both the city and the state housing development. The state, of course, is actually funded by us as taxpayers. A previous city council set aside approximately $1 million to attract industry. We just used a significant amount of that money to attract Kawasaki and 285 jobs to Booneville. That would not have happened if we didn't have your money to put on the table. I am so proud of the city for stepping up 20 years ago and putting $250,000 into the Hotel Frederick to get that project off the ground. Had that not been done, that building which anchors the north end of Main Street would most likely have fallen in by now. Do we hate to see someone making money off of a city project? The hotel building had been purchased by a local person for, I believe, $35,000 and then was sold at a nice profit a little later to the developers who have restored that hotel about 20 years ago. What do I say to someone making money off of what was an old hotel that became an abandoned rest home? Thank God. Keep Highway 98 rural. Anyone not aware of this zoning map, which shows that a tract already in the city of Booneville, this map right here, is zoned R1. If anybody needs a copy of that map, I'll give it to you. Which is residential. Anyone here wish there had been signs all over Logan's Lake Road that said, keep Logan's Lake Road rural, by the same board that later did Lake Farrell? We need a city council that is partners of growth of the city of Booneville.
Be kidding.
I believe each of you all wants that. I thank you for your time. And maybe next time give us more like 5 minutes.
I think you need to start giving lessons. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
I might need those 5 minutes. Yeah.
Lori.
All right, good evening. I'm Lori Emhoff, and I do live in the county, but I also own housing in the city. I want to thank the city council members for your time and consideration that you're giving to this important decision you have to make this evening. To be clear, I'm not opposed to annexation. I'm opposed to spending taxpayer money to subsidize the Fox Hollow development project, especially without any performance obligations for the developer, such as building so many houses a year. What if he changes his mind, finds another project, interest rates climb? What about pricing limits to ensure affordable housing is indeed what is resulting? Was that not done at Lake Farrell Estates? Affordable housing is listed in the ARPA guidelines. Council records list $280,000 as an average home price for this project. That's already pushing affordability in Cooper County, according to census records. This developer has spent a lot of time and money looking for someone else to finance his project. Earlier this spring, he asked for TIF funding that would have directly taken funds intended for our local school district. The community voiced their disapproval loud and clear. Before I spoke at the last council meeting, I noticed there was a plat map in the corner of the room. The plat map did not include a 15-acre, $20,000 an acre city park. I asked a city employee where the 15-acre park was. I was told that was an old plat, when in fact, the date on the plat was February 2021. That's not an old plat. That was the original plat when the developer was seeking TIF funding. When the TIF funding was taken off the table, a new plat appeared where the city park right in the middle. This new plat relies on the city of Boonville's tax monies. The developer is not altruistic. The only reason this park is even a part of this project is to gain a better angle to obtain taxpayer funding. Boonville does have building lots for sale. 80, as a matter of fact, or more, is in the future shortly at Boone Point. Quinlan Agency has listed on their website that quotations development has started for the newest section of Legends West. It's over 60 acres, so one can expect another 50 lots or so. Boonville does not need to subsidize housing development, especially when these projects are in the works. The Fox Hollow development team says, pay for the parkland that I will sell to you at an outrageous price. Put the streets, the curbs, the water, the sewer, the infrastructure in too. Do it, or I'll take my business somewhere else. Without the city, there is no sewer system, and a 425 home development can't move forward without it. You hold the cards, City Council. Play your hand well. What kind of professional working relationship can you expect to have with a player who says, do it my way, or else?
Thank you, Lori. Don?
I'm Don Margery. I'm not going to talk as fast as Ken because I got done listening about 2 minutes ago. He was talking so fast. But in the back of this room, toward the back of this room, are some young business people. There's a gentleman toward the back of this room that's in the home building business with his father. It's quite possible that they may get some, all, or part of each house with their construction company. There's a young gentleman in the back of this room that's in the heating and cooling business. It's very possible that he will get the heating and cooling in these houses. At the last meeting, there was a gentleman that sold floor coverings. I'm quite certain he would get the floor coverings in the Fox Hollow houses. There's a gentleman back here in the room that sells appliances. He may not get the first set of appliances. He may. He will get the repairs on all appliances, and he'll get the second set of appliances. There's a gentleman in this room tonight that sells concrete. It's quite possible that he will get the concrete on these 400 houses. If he does, his business is in the city of Booneville. There'll be city sales tax paid on that concrete. So the notion that this development helps one person is misplaced. It helps all of Booneville. Matt talked about a meeting 20, 25 years ago out where Russell Stover's is about housing. There was a comment made at that meeting. It's not affordable housing we need, it's affordable jobs. There's a group of people in this room tonight that worked very hard to bring Kawasaki to town, the BCDC board members, and I'd like all of them to raise their hands so everybody can tell who they are. We can bring more things to town, but give us something to work with. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Anybody else? Thanks, Joe. Yes, sir.
Let me get signed in quick.
The button is pushed.
Good?
Ready?
Can you hear
Go
me?
ahead. Yep.
Okay. I'm Jason Thurman. I'm the Vice President of the Troy Thurman Construction Company. Felt obligated to get up here and talk tonight to you all. More from a business standpoint than a political standpoint, as we've been dealing with in the recent weeks. So from a business standpoint, at full build out, this project generates roughly $1.5 million a year. Those are from Development Dynamics. Those are on the city website, I believe, Kate, I think they're still on there, that we turned in. And again, you can look at those numbers on there. But $1.5 million full build out in property taxes. Roughly $500,000 a year in personal property taxes. That's over $2 million this thing generates, not counting the sales tax from all these houses in the city of Booneville. The idea of the local private developer, we keep hearing over and over, says, people keep saying, there's no money going to be generated, it just goes to the developer. That's not true. According to the National Association of Home Builders, 3.5 jobs are created by an average single-family home. At 450 homes at 3 jobs per house, to keep it simple, that's 1,350 new jobs created. Now, are those all in Booneville? No. Those are jobs created, lumber company has to hire on more loggers, more trucking, more warehouse. But this development creates hundreds of jobs in our community that are going to spend their money here in Booneville. We're going to pull a lot of jobs from people outside of the area too, as well. But they come here, spend money at the gas station, at local, they go for lunch at some local restaurants. And we talked to a bunch of businesses downtown. Any business will tell you, they'd be more than happy to have more new people, come to town for housing, but also, like I said, the jobs created building these houses. You got framing, roofing, heating and cooling, concrete, flooring, electrical, plumbing, landscaping, appliances, decor, et cetera, Those create lots of jobs and generate extra revenue that we haven't even talked about. All those materials are bought hopefully locally for most of them, as local as we can. That's what helps having a local developer rather than an outside developer coming in and developing a property of this size. And so there's basically just 3 questions that I think, should be asked. And those are, does this project benefit the city of Booneville? Yes, it does. Does this project benefit the schools? Yes, it does. And does this project benefit all the businesses in town? Yes, it does. That's why I believe you should vote yes tonight and create a brighter future for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. We will close the hearing of citizens' comments and proceed with the agenda. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of November 15, 2021 council meeting. They're on pages 3 through 8.
There was an amended copy provided at your table.
Any questions or corrections? Then they will stand as submitted. Consent items. Consider pay request order number 3 from Radbaker Construction LLC in the amount of $88,598.92 for Kemper Library parking lot improvements. That's pages 9 and 10. And item B, we can do at the same time, same company. Consider change order number 1 from Radbaker Construction LLC in the amount of $0 for Kemper Library parking lot improvements. That's on page 11.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve consent item A and B together.
Okay, thank you, Whitney. Thank you for the second, Mike. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Milbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
and Stock.
Yes.
Item 6, presentation of accounts and claims. On page 12, but you actually have a new sheet. Amber?
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Booneville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the city of Booneville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on December 6, 2021. The sum of $611,310.62. General fund, $196,947.22. Sanitation, $32,715.49. CIP tax, $24,352.77. Waterworks, $108,883.90. Capital project, $0.00. Wastewater, $160,684.23. Tourism, $33,170.16. Gaming, $23,147.45. Parks and Water, $17,818.80. Kemper sales tax, $13,590.60. Economic Development Project, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $611,310.62, being the total amount of money being appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be in force from and after its passage. First reading on December 6, 2021, read for the second time this December 6, 2021, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that we,
I need a second reading title
Oh.
only.
sorry,
That's okay.
second reading title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I move that we pay these amounts.
Thank you, Susan. Second? Teresa, thank you. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
and Stock.
Yes.
Item 7, unfinished business, starts with the second reading of bill number 2021-031, approving an agreement with Como Electric Cooperative Franchise Agreement.
An ordinance granting a franchise to Como Electric Cooperative Incorporated, a Missouri cooperative corporation to construct, acquire, operate, and maintain electric facilities in the city of Booneville, Missouri for a period of 20 years, and to furnish electricity to the city and inhabitants therefore, and to use the streets, roads, alleys, and other public places within the city for said purposes in accordance with applicable law, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I make
Yep.
a motion, we approve this.
Thank you, Whitney. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
and Stock.
Yes.
Item B, second reading of bill number 2021-032, approving a development agreement with Thurman Construction Company. It starts on page 13.
An ordinance authorizing a development agreement, real estate sales contract, and related documents in connection with the development of the Fox Hollow subdivision and approving certain documents and other actions.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve
Okay, thank you, Susan. Do we have a second?
this bill.
Thank you, Mike. Comments, questions?
Mayor, I got a comment.
Go ahead, Whitney.
So I support the development of Booneville and the growth within its city limits. I've moved to vote for the passage of the development's preliminary site plans are included in zoning committee. However, what I cannot support is using the city of Booneville's taxpayer money to subsidize this development over others. With simple math, you can figure $1.4 million divided by the Booneville population of 8,500 is $165 per person, or $660 for a four-person home. This figure does not even include the price of developing the park. During this current times of historical inflation, I will not vote to use the citizens of Booneville's money to subsidize the private housing project. The city of Booneville is providing value here as well. The city will be investing in this project by making improvements to our water and sewer system to make sure the development is adequately serviced. Without the city sewer system, there's no way for the development of these 400 homes. We have information in the Department of Revenue, or Department of Natural Resources that indicates this. The millions of dollars that we have spent on our water and sewer systems are a huge asset, and we should not have those taken for granted. Also, based on the contract that I have read, the developer does not even have to build one house to get the $1.4 million in improvement. I say $1.4 million, but it could be more because it's not even spelled out in the agreement. The city might be building a street to a piece of property without any houses even around it. So if we want to grow local, or want to grow businesses and developments in Booneville, we need to lower our local tax rate. This will incentivize everyone who wants to do business here versus the city council taking the citizens' money and playing favorites with it. So I'll recommend a no vote.
Okay, thank you, Whitney.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment as well.
Andrew?
I believe in this particular instance, the city's role here is to make a market and to make an area where we have strong demand and we make Booneville attractive. We have done that with the work to bring in new jobs. As stated, we have a low supply of homes in the area today. We have high demand. There should be urgency to develop this. There should not be looking for subsidized loans from the city or any other thing that we don't want to do. We are here to be a partner. We will build infrastructure on the corridor as planned. We will continue to make long-term growth in the area. However, the way the current bill is written, I also cannot support this. We all want long-term growth. We want responsible growth in this city. I believe everyone in this room, everyone listening to us has the same goal. It's just how do we get there? Unfortunately, I cannot support this as it's written today. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
I got a question.
Barry?
On the airport, have we ever decided to talk to the FFA or somebody about fencing on around that airport for the kids?
There will have to be fencing along the entire airport property. It's also something that we've talked to with the developers. So the whole area will have to be fenced, and we've also talked to our airport contractors.
And then what about benchmarks or who's to say that he's gonna build 400 homes in 20 years? You know, maybe he can't do it, you know what I mean, because of, you know, I mean, he just might not be able to. What do we have to say he's gonna have to build 400 homes to get this money?
So in the development agreement, I think there isn't any guarantee of the 400 homes, but the value of it being in the city in the long term provides a benefit to the city as well. So if it tries to come in at a later point or something like that, that also presents challenges. I would also say that although it's not specifically spelled out, there is improvements that we have to make by a certain time. And let's say that the market does change and maybe phase 2 isn't going to happen at their time rate, then we also would mutually agree that our work might not have to happen at that same time. So there is a time frame for that. But if it doesn't come to fruition at the time frame, then we can agree to change that deadline. So not all of our investment will have to be made up front.
Anything else, Barry?
I'll come back
Okay.
next.
Anybody else?
Are we asking for comments prior to the vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's correct.
I do want to make a comment. 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had people speaking from the gallery just like they did tonight. And I think there was one gentleman that stood up and talked about one way to get your arms around an issue like this is you can actually just get a blank sheet of paper and start listing the pros and cons on each side and see where you end up. And that's exactly the approach that I took on this. And I can tell you, as I list pros and cons, as I got to near the bottom, I was pretty even on some things. There was a couple of 2 or 3 things that slanted me towards not voting for this. But I didn't think that was enough. I went further. I obviously looked at all the emails, I answered all the telephones, but I thought it was appropriate to get out and knock on some doors. Not people coming to me, but me going to people in this community and see how they felt about it. And I did that, and I even went further. I stood up in church Sunday, and we're certainly sensitive to separation of state and government, but the pastor allowed me to stand up, and I talked to a number of people there. And I asked him, tell me what you're thinking. And I have to report to you that it was, in my calculation, it was about 20-3 against this proposal. And I wasn't sure it was going to wash out that way, but it did. And I guess in my mind, I can't turn my back on the people of this community that pays the bills here. And so basically on that, I'm going to have to vote no on this project.
Thank you, Albert. You done?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. Steve?
I would love to say yes, but it just doesn't add up, and I just don't have enough information to say yes. I wish we had more.
Anybody else?
I
Need to vote.
I think Barry's got more.
Barry?
Why can't we do away with the $300,000 for the park and put it off for another day?
Well, we're voting on what's in front of us, Barry,
Okay.
okay? If after we vote, we want to talk about changes, that's a different item. We're voting on what's in front of us,
All right.
okay? Good question. Anybody else? Roll call.
Young,
No.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
No.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
No.
Turner,
No.
Stock.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
What are you smiling about? Yes.
Okay.
Item C, fifth reading of bill number 2021, approving annexation for Fox Hollow subdivision. It's on page 50, I can't read my writing, I think it's page 52.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri annexing certain contiguous territory owned by Shore Thurman Construction Company, Inc., a Missouri corporation doing business in Cooper County, Missouri, into the City of Boonville, Missouri, zoning the property as R1, R2, and RA residential, as hereafter set out, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve this.
Thank you, Susan. Second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Steve. Questions or comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
No.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
No.
Stock.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item D, fifth reading of bill number 2021-010, approving project and preliminary site plan for Fox Hollow subdivision. It's on page 59.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving the Fox Hollow project and preliminary site plan located at Highway 87 and 98 between Hale Ridge Golf Course and Jesse Vertle Memorial Airport.
Motion?
Mayor, I make a motion, we approve this bill.
Thanks, Susan. Second?
Second.
I'm going to let Teresa take that one. Okay? Thank you, Teresa. Questions, comments?
Do we have any issues from planning and zoning on this?
Nope.
Nothing came out of the meeting, Andrew.
Scott's
Over the
coming.
last month or so, I've gone through the codes and the preliminary site plan for this development and added sidewalks, lights, fire hydrants where necessary. The developer has come through and added all those to the revised site plan, so everything does meet code.
So that the audience knows this is our engineering company. He represents that. He's the guy that audits what engineering is done. Is that the right word to put into? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any more comments? Roll call.
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Elbert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
and Stock.
Yes.
Okay. New business. Item A, first reading of bill number 2021-033, an ordinance authorizing an amendment to the waste collection, disposal, and transfer station agreement between Waste Management of Missouri Incorporated and the City of Booneville. Starts on page 61.
There are representatives here from Waste Management, so if anyone has any questions, or if they have any concerns, they're happy to answer them, and we can work through if there's any necessary changes, but some time ago, they came back to initially talk about the roll carts, and this is just sort of the formalization of that. No questions?
Doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is about $5 that they gonna give, we gotta buy an extra, if we want an extra can, it's about $5.
Correct.
Yeah. And if we lose that can or the can blows away, what would it cost to get it replaced?
damaged during regular service, like if we, do something to it or something like that.
Sir, can you come to the microphone so we can hear you?
Sure.
Thanks.
If, if it's damaged from us servicing it, or, wheel comes off, lid comes off, something like that, from regular, service, we're gonna take care of that. If it's lost, somebody, believe it or not, people like fires and toters, if it's damaged in that way, lost, they take it with them, they move to a different address, take it with them, then yes, then the resident would be, responsible for the cost.
I have several questions for you. Explain, is there a difference between, let's see the term, bulk items and what we used to have as a spring cleanup? Is that a distinction between those two?
So, so spring cleanup is pretty much was a, take all, right? I mean, you wait, you clean out your garage, your basement, your neighbors, and it's all just hauled out, and put on the curb. A bulk item would be, you have a recliner that you need to get rid of, or couch, mattress, something like that. Just a larger item than what would fit in a cart, right? That would be your.
So is it based on weight, the size of the item, or what kind of item it is? Does the weight make a difference?
No, not really. It's, I mean, we can always send somebody by to help, right? But, we try to keep it at a certain weight, but bulk items are bulk items. I mean, a sofa sleeper we know is way heavier than a kitchen chair, right? But, so really that won't make the difference on that. Does that answer your question?
I think so. I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I guess the one item that I'm having a little bit of trouble with, and maybe you can explain it. If I understand, if there is damage, if the cart is lost, damaged, stolen, or whatever, as long as your company didn't have anything to do with that, then the expense is on the homeowner. Is that correct?
Yes.
So if I wanted to go by and steal a cart, just because I didn't like him, I go by and steal a cart and I hide it, he's on the hook for $85. Is that correct?
Pretty much. But at the same time, and we realize that, right? And so we actually have numbers on the carts. We number the carts. We know where they're at. If something's missing, someone all of a sudden has two carts that only had one. Believe it or not, drivers know that, right? They know when something's come up. We have a number on that cart, and we can identify that back to where it belonged.
But in essence, if all of those fail, he would have to pay the $85. Is that right? Okay, and the other, I guess the final question I have, I'm a little confused on the extra cart. Is that saying that if I need two carts for November and December, but I don't need it for the rest of the year, is that an option, or do I have to take it for the whole year, or just, how does that work?
Take it for the whole year. I mean, they can't go around and pick them up and out,
Well,
and
I'm
it's
just
hard,
asking.
and it's hard on our billing cycle, so it would really probably be a year commitment to the cart.
So once you sign up for two, you're stuck with two for at least a year?
Right.
Is that the way it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it possible, I guess, if I have a cart that meets the same specification that your cart does, in other words, in size, and it has the flip top, and you can get that arm around it, is there any room at all for you to accept that item? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say because if you damage it, you're going to...
Right, and the problem with the carts that you can purchase, I mean, these carts that are made by companies that do this for waste service, right? The carts that you're buying at Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, those type of things, the first time we try to hook that up, we're gonna crush it. And then we're gonna be replacing that cart as well, right? It doesn't work with the automation to use a lot of them.
Well, that's probably not a fair question to you, but I lived in another city.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought the cart from the city, and it's precisely like the one you're showing here. And I paid $100 for it. So that means that cart is not gonna be, I can't use that cart anymore, but that's okay, that's my problem, I'll deal with it. Final question, but I think maybe you get my point, is I'd like to be able to use that cart, because it's an identical to what you're showing here in this right here. Is that the
And
way
it
your
probably
car's
is the
done?
same card if you purchased it from city.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
It's gonna probably be the
So
identical
you
card,
can
and I
accept-
don't know that we discussed
So
that
you
at
can
all.
accept my cart, is that what you're saying?
Well, I could steal your card and then sell you
Just
one.
crushed it.
I just make one, there's one small error there. In one part of your write-up, you got is a 64 gallon, and then another part you say is 65 gallons. What is it?
It's actually 65 gallon.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir, appreciate it.
That was impressive.
Was it?
Yes.
I'd love to impress you, Mr. Mayor.
Just to clarify the bulk that you were talking about. Bulk is picked up once a year, or if my recliner breaks tonight when I go back to the house, and I put it out on the corner tomorrow morning, it gets picked up then?
Under the
How,
new,
what is, I didn't pick that up with your
So-
exchange, when bulk is picked up or not picked up.
currently in our contract, it is a weekly bulk pickup, but you lose all the efficiency of the automated roll cards if you have to also then go do the bulk pickup. So in talking with Ammon, who is unfortunately not able to be here tonight, he has another obligation, I said I didn't want to lose the spring cleanup, and I really don't want to lose the bulk pickup, but I know the bulk pickup is a hard one. So we agreed on a quarterly, one-time bulk pickup that we'll pick third Thursday of the first, fourth, or whatever. We'll advertise that out, and they'll be prepared. So it's a quarterly, one-item bulk pickup. That was the compromise that we've arrived at.
So you hang it on the wall in your garage until it's the date.
But everything, if it's all automated and everything's going fast, we should be able to put anything out there.
Ooh, look at you.
On
Grab
when?
and go, grab and go.
Yeah, so,
No, I know.
I mean, it's really true, but there's a lot of things that don't fit in actually that particular
Couches
truck.
are
And
big.
so we actually run a second truck to do the bulk.
I got you.
Okay,
I got you.
all right. Well, that's good. I think we collectively cleared that up. That was good work. Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I got a vote on it, Phil.
Nope, next week, this is first reading.
That was first reading, you're right. Okay, consider resolution, this is item B. Consider resolution number 2021-17, authorizing and approving an agreement between Grice Trucking and the City of Booneville for FEMA stormwater project. Page 67 and 68, Mike.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Grice Trucking and Excavating and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to FEMA West Morgan Street, Alpine Drive stormwater improvements and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Grice Trucking and Excavating represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Grice Trucking and Excavating and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the FEMA West Morgan Street, Alpine Drive stormwater improvements, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A is attached hereto and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed this 6th day of December by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor? Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve this resolution.
Thank you. Mike's got the second. Questions, comments? Albert?
Yeah, this project here is in my ward, and I get a fair number of calls on this. And two questions. I've gone down and inspected it, there's some rotten trees down there, decayed trees. Is that part of this and they be removed as well?
I think Scott can talk in more depth about the project.
I'm sorry, you'll have to say that again?
Well, I went down and inspected this whole area, and I noticed that there were some decayed trees down there where the erosion, all you see is the roots. Is that removing those trees a part of this project, or no?
The bank off of on each side of the street is going to be regraded, and we're gonna put down 2 feet of type 1 rock blanket, which is the large stone on filter cloth. That anything that is there in that designated area where the rock blanket is going will be removed.
Okay.
And that is going down the creek further, past that manhole down there.
Yes, yes.
So, and up the ditch and all that. So we are armoring that whole area to try and reinforce and prevent any erosion and undermining of, the street improvement that we're gonna do.
Good.
Albert, I need to know something. Did you go all the way down into the stream?
I
Okay,
did go and people,
okay. I was just gonna say, if you got down there and got back up, we were all gonna applaud you.
just one other comment and I'm done.
Yes, sir.
I did contact Jeff on this project. A gentleman called and Jeff gave me an update and I passed that update on to the caller. And one of the things that he said was that hopefully once this is approved, that he was going to put something in writing, some kind of announcement or update, and informing the people that live in that area, the status of that. And I think that's a good thing. I frankly like to see us do more of that, and I think that's a good deal, Jeff. I appreciate your input on that.
Well, just give you an update on the timeline. Tonight, if you approve the award of the contract, we will send a packet out to the contractor. He'll have 10 days to sign the contract, provide his performance payment bond, and his insurance certificates back to us. We then put the executed contracts together, and we call a pre-construction meeting. That's going to take about 2 weeks. Okay?
Yeah, so mid-December, a little later.
Then the contractor will give us notice of when he can start the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Probably closer to January. I'm just gonna say with the holidays, you might get hit or miss a little bit. Like, hopefully we can wrap all that up, but I would say maybe construction in mid-January.
In January.
Yeah.
You can anticipate it in January.
Okay. Good coverage. Thank you, sir. Roll call?
Young,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Cowherd,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Nobert,
Yes.
Venable,
Yes.
Turner,
Yes.
and Stock.
Yes.
Reports of standing committees, Board of Public Works, Andrew.
That meeting was postponed due to lack of items.
Okay, thank you. Reports of city officials, city administrator.
I have nothing further.
Mayor, I say thank you. Thank you for those of you that stayed with us all the way through this. Appreciate it a bunch. I also thank every single council member. Y'all were prepared. Y'all did your due diligence, and I'm really proud of that. That's good. I appreciate it. City clerk.
Okay, I have a couple different things. First of all, on Friday, November 19th, the following city employees volunteered an hour of their time to ring the bell to benefit our community through the Salvation Army. The bell ringers were Cammie Edgar, Mark Weibel, Ned Beach, Mark Strange, Ben Birch, Randy Ayers, Chris King, Stuart Clark, Jesse Kieran, Guy Kaiser, Paul Lindhart, Tom Goon, Tina Glover, John Kaiser, Teresa Studley, and myself, and I just want to say thank you to all of them for that. Also, the candidate filing period for April 5th, 2022 municipal election is actually opening tomorrow from 8 a.m. to the closing date of Tuesday, December 28, 2021 at 5. The offices to be filled for this upcoming election are for a 2-year term for each council representative of wards 1 through 4. For those usually seated to my left, Steve Young, Susan Meadows, Andrew Cowherd, and Teresa Hurt. And also the office of the mayor, which is a 4-year term. Interested parties will complete a declaration of candidacy, pay a $25 filing fee with the city clerk at City Hall located at 401 Main Street, and have their city taxes paid and all user fees current on the last day to file. A public notice for this filing period was published in the Booneville Daily News on November 27th and the Columbia Daily Tribune on November 26th. And that is all I have.
What was the last day?
The file, December 28th, Tuesday, December 28th. Yes.
Secrets. Any miscellaneous?
We have one miscellaneous item Teresa has up here.
Hello, council, long time no see. So representatives from Lochner, a nationally recognized transportation engineering firm serving clients through offices across the United States, presented a commemorative plaque to recognize the long-standing relationship between Lochner and the City of Booneville. Since planning and engineering the original airfield in 1973, Lochner has completed a variety of services on the Jesse Vertle Memorial Airport located in Booneville. In the 1990s and 2000s, Lochner expanded the airport by adding runways, taxiways, T-hangars, roads, and parking. Most recently, Lochner provided design and construction engineering services for the reconstruction of runway 1836, which was selected as the 2020 Gold Award winner by the American Concrete Pavement Association, the ACPA, for excellence in concrete paving for reliever and general aviation airports, and these are our pictures and plaques that we received.
Cool.
Thank you, Teresa. Thanks, Jeff. Any other miscellaneous? Steve?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I like it.